Okay, so first, this video is kind of weird, but it's a subject that interests me. So hopefully it interests you too. It's about smoking.
I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me smoking indoors. I didn't ask anybody, I just did it. What are they gonna do? Kick me out before I get the prize? No, this is called leverage.
Stop and think about the people you know who smoke. Who are they? Smart? Stupid? It's odd. Smoking has a connotation. It's dirty, uneducated. But the people that smoke aren't losers. Far from it. And many of them are incredibly smart. So why is smoking so hard to quit for smart people? What makes tobacco addiction a unique problem and different than every other addiction? Or maybe you just want to know why your friend won't stop smoking. It's time to answer the questions nobody wants to discuss. Whoa, not that guy. Also, that's a pipe. That's better. As the child who foolishly started smoking, surrounded by a family of doctors, ooh boy, I have a personal interest in answering these questions. But first, I have to convince you why smoking is great. Don't worry, I'll keep it funny.
We present the family model. When father says puff, we all puff.
This cute boy will be warned later in school that smoking is addictive, but he'll still smoke. This boy is me. I know, I screwed up. The point is, young adults are told to just
say no.
Just say no. One puff is too much. But any person who has smoked a cigarette knows that's not true. One cigarette doesn't hook a person. In fact, many people are surprised to learn smoking is only about as strong as drinking a cup of coffee. But if that's really all, how the fuck can nicotine be, according to like 30 studies, more addictive than heroin and alcohol, and so attractive to educated people who should know better? The first step to knowledge is learning our previous education is wrong. I think Confucius said that, or something. I'm paraphrasing. I read it on Instagram. What is true, though, is that in order to understand why successful people smoke, we need to update our theory of addiction, because it's out of touch. Most of our understanding about addiction comes from studying heavier drugs, and smoking doesn't follow the rules of other drugs. The last 40 years taught us how to keep individuals who hit rock bottom from relapsing during physical withdrawals. But what if you haven't hit rock bottom? Maybe you're a journalist, maybe you're an actor, maybe you're the President of the United States. How do you quit a drug if you have a good life? An interesting question, right? Modern addiction researchers think paradoxically, because smoking's effects are so weak, it is precisely one of humans' strongest addictions. When smokers inhale, they experience no cognitive decline. This is why your favorite comic or actor can tell jokes, get on TV, and make money all while smoking. The difference between smoking and other drugs is that the smoker is seeking a distraction, not escapism. A distinction that hasn't been made in addiction until recently. Nicotine is gentle. It makes good parts of life better and the worst parts of life more bearable, all without interrupting life itself, like a CNN anchor.
Congressman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Justin Bieber.
Anyway, smoking fitting neatly into everyday life helps explain why people keep smoking. It's not the withdrawals, it's something less visible. Smokers grow accustomed to enjoying activities they like while smoking and suffering through life struggles while smoking. Up or down, Joe Camel is around. Therefore, when someone stops smoking, their entire life slides down an arc. Every aspect becomes slightly less good. I'll let Christopher Hitchens explain.
It's the most perfect addiction. Well, if you aren't hungry, it'll give you an appetite if you smoke. If you are hungry and there isn't any food in the immediate future, you can dull your pain of hunger by smoking. Perfect self-administered micro drug. In fact, come to think of it, I can't think why I gave the shit up.
Recovery from most other drugs, even powerful ones, often have trade-offs. You hear a person say, I miss alcohol, but I don't miss blacking out. I miss heroin, but I'm glad my sex drive is back. I miss meth, but I don't miss Joe Exotic.
I'm broke as shit.
So smart people continue to smoke despite health advice because it doesn't affect their life enough to draw their attention. They're not trying to escape life by smoking. They're already enjoying it. To
Tell me how it tastes.
Schnitzel.
Amazing.
Okay, so where am I going with this? Well, maybe this means it's time to reimagine smoking as a biological relationship. Which is weird, but hear me out. Maybe there's a purpose to smoking.
Some plants can live only if they feed on other organic things. Each of these is a parasite that lives on other living plants or animals.
To understand why smart people continue to smoke, imagine tobacco as a parasite. The human is the host. Tobacco has perfectly Darwinianly adapted better than any other drug to coexist with humans, by playing on all of our psychological weaknesses, like instant gratification and a long tail risk. If heroin is a giant squid paralyzing the user with tentacles, where everyone sees they're in big trouble and need to stop now, then smoking is a barnacle, present and slowly sucking blood, but never enough to draw attention until it's too late. But it goes both ways. The parasite also has advantages for the host. Study after study found tobacco enhances the brain's ability to focus. Nicotine allows people to concentrate longer, practice harder, and continue to function with higher stressors than without it. If we're honest, and this video is about honest, critical analysis about smoking, tobacco is basically a micro-performance enhancing drug for the mind. This may be why many successful, smart people continue to smoke, if it gives them a mental competitive edge. Dave Chappelle and Obama both get trapped in something like Zeno's mathematical arrow paradox. Each day it seems immeasurably better and easier to smoke than not, until suddenly they have cancer.
I literally expected to be welcomed with open arms by the people of Vietnam.
This is a good time to bring up the odd story of Vietnam. Back in the 60s, many GIs consumed heroin like rice. The use of heroin was so widespread, Army officials screamed epidemic. During the early 70s, the Nixon administration prepared the VA to treat millions of heroin-addicted troops.
Public enemy number one is drug abuse.
The CDC labeled it a public health crisis. The entire movie American Gangster is about the problem. But you've likely never heard about this historical fact because when Vietnam ended, nothing happened. There was no crisis. The millions of soldiers using heroin just stopped. It was unbelievable. Eventually, doctors concluded the phenomenon occurred because GIs were removed from the environment that created the need for heroin. Many soldiers who were otherwise in good mental health simply stopped. The environment trigger, when removed, made otherwise normal people less likely to use. So what's the difference between heroin and cigarettes then? I'm not saying heroin is easy to quit, but environment plays a powerful role in human behavior. Duh. So obvious until you realize smoking exhales into every aspect of a person's life, from office tower to apartment, trucking to Air Force One. How do smokers abolish the environmental triggers when they're comfortable functioning in every environment? New science now indicates the best cause for the reduction of smoking from 48% of Americans in 1965 down to 20% of Americans in 2006 was not the billions of dollars in health awareness. That was a total waste of money, like donating cash to Belle Delphine. Instead, the simple ban of smoking in airplanes and restaurants worked better. Those laws broke or stopped many environmental triggers from developing in the smoker's brain.
I'm a badass motherfucker, am I not?
Either way, smart people smoke. It's undeniable, and they do it for a variety of complex reasons. In fact, oddly, in America, the association between childhood intelligence and the consumption of tobacco is positive. The more intelligent they are in middle school and high school, the more tobacco they consume as young adults 7 years later. Psychologists don't know why this is, so I won't speculate either, but the statistical significance exists. Nicotine is a very unique addiction, so what should smart people do if they want to quit? This is the PSA part of the video, to make it more redemptive. The newest science suggests smokers should separate their smoking life from their non-smoking life, then slowly start moving activities from their smoking life and placing them in their non-smoking life. The process is slow and painful, but as shown earlier, it's about removing those environmental triggers more than adding nicotine patches. But don't feel bad if you don't succeed at first. At the very least, you're in really good company.
How many cigarettes a day do you now smoke?
Am I a daily smoker, a constant smoker? No. I would say that I am 95% cured, but there are times where I mess up.
So that's why smart people smoke. Life is complex, and I think it's better to understand it.